In this video, I want to show you how to intelligently choose your category for your book.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
So that you get two benefits from it. The number one is you'll become a bestseller in that category, because remember, to become a bestseller on Amazon, you don't have to sell number one on all of Amazon. That's impossible nearly, but you have to just be number one in certain category. And some categories are extremely competitive. You have to make hundreds of sales a day to become the bestseller in some categories, but some categories are not that competitive, and you can become a bestseller with just 20 sales or something like that. So finding the right category is incredibly important to become a bestseller. That's number one. The second benefit is, look, if I scroll here and I did a search for marketing, and of course, look, if I am looking for books and I see a book, oh, it says bestseller. Of course, I'm going to click through, and as a potential buyer, I'm going to take a slightly bigger interest in this kind of a book that has this badge bestseller, or this book that has a badge bestseller, and that's going to increase immediately the click-through for this kind of book, and of course sales. And these sales are going to be perpetually higher sales. So this is a way to become a bestseller momentarily, of course, but also perpetually increase your sales. And what happens is Amazon does give some categories on the left side here, but you see they're a little bit limited. You can go marketing, web marketing, but pretty quickly it runs out of categories. That's it. It's a dead end. But internally, they have a lot more categories. So what I would do is I'd look at these guys. So you sell sales and selling presentations, and I'm going to click here. And well, here we have this top selling book. And what I'm really looking for is, are they really selling a lot of books? And what I'm looking for is this paid Kindle store rank. Here it's almost 2,000. It's not a world-beating book, but it's an incredibly respectable sales rank. So this will be very hard to compete against. So we keep going. And we go and we look at other categories. Maybe we go back out and we look at some other categories. And this takes some browsing. And you see this book is actually a bestseller in another category. It's number 2 in this category, but in a different one. So you see you have others like public speaking, sales presentations. So you go and all of these, you can imagine they're going to be pretty competitive. But look, interviewing, see this book actually sells 7,000 only, you see? So it's a far lower Kindle rank. I'm going to make this a little bigger for you. And you see it's a far lower Kindle rank than the original book we saw. So we're like, wow, that's interesting. So let's look at public speaking. And what we're looking for is the first book. Is it strong? Can we beat it? Well, this also is much stronger, right? It's 2,500 Kindle rank. So we keep browsing, and there's a few ways to find categories. One is just to keep on browsing. What we want to do is find weaker books, how to design TED slides, and we want to look at other categories, and we just want to kind of stumble upon some categories. Okay, running meetings and presentations, that looks like kind of a fluff category. And let's see what's the number 1 book. Looks like a strong book. Again, it is a strong book, but the category itself wasn't that crowded, and we want to keep looking for different categories. Maybe this secretarial aids and training. Of course, the category does have to match your book, but if we look at this, see, we found just by browsing for 3 minutes a really relatively weak book. You see, it's number 1. It's a weak category. It's a weak category that's dominated by a book that's not so strong. To give you contrast, if you look at my business plan book, this book keeps oscillating between somewhere like 8,000 Kindle sales rank, and I just want to make sure it's the Kindle. Yeah, it's the Kindle. So 8,000 Kindle rank and like 15 or 20,000. Today I'm at 11,000. So this book can easily become high. And see also, it's almost number 1 in some categories already. Sometimes it is number 1, sometimes it's not. If we click on this, what's going to happen is these 2 books, they are quite strong. If we click one, we're going to go to the sales rank, and we'll see that this is a really strong book. It's like not even 1,000 something. It's 320. So most days, I'm not going to beat this book. Not. Only if I have a burst of sales. But if I change the category of this book to some weaker category, I'm going to be able to be perpetually the number 1 book in that weaker category, and I'm going to be able to get more sales immediately, because that badge, the bestseller badge, draws people's eyes. That's what I want to do. So let's say I find some category. Here's what I do. I go to my KDP, and the fastest thing that I've ever seen accomplish this is you go to contact us, and you go to, let's say, your book details, and then you say other, okay? And it's going to give you a chance to send email to the support of KDP. And all you do is send them an email like this, just like that. You see, you can copy and paste this. The only thing you have to do is change the URL of your book to actual URL of your book, and the category to the actual category that you want, so they know exactly what you want. And then you send them the message. Every once in a while, you get like a really incompetent support person, or sometimes even you don't know, but a computer answers your email. So you just have to keep emailing with them. Don't give up after the first try. If it's frustrating, it usually is frustrating, but stay with it and you'll be fine eventually. If you can even give them a reason, you can add on your own the reason that you think your book applies to that category. Of course, your book should at least somewhat be a fit for that category. Maybe not perfectly exactly, but somewhat. And then they'll say yes. If you can also add your book to the category like this. If you go to your bookshelf and let's say you find some book you want to change, you click the edit details, and you would change the category. The categories are like right here. Choose categories, you see? So you can navigate here. Now keep in mind, here they don't list all the categories. So if your category is not in that, one trick that people use sometimes, and sometimes it's going to work, sometimes it's not going to work, but you can put the category here. So for example, you would put like something like, you see how this would be the category of business skills, interviewing, something like this. And this would algorithmically influence Amazon's algorithm to make sure that they add your book to that category. Now, this may or may not work, but right now I gave you 3 different ways to add your book to that category through this little trick here, through the actual category choice here, and by emailing their support. So eventually you should be able to get into a category that you can rank for. And by the way, the book I showed you, that business plan book, it has a good sales rank. It is not actually easy to get to that level of sales rank. So if you cannot get to that level of sales rank, what you want to do is perpetually make sure that you're ranking in search and do all the other things in this course to generate the sales, like ranking in search, running ads, making sure that your book page has a high sales conversion rate, and all those things. And eventually you'll start climbing up the category that you've chosen, and eventually you'll be number 1 for that category and you'll stay there perpetually. And that badge is going to help you get more attention and more sales, which will in turn help you rank for tougher and bigger keywords, and will be one of the major components to make sure that your book really perpetually stays as a successful seller long term.